this small sheet is going to be our maquette. It's going to represent an 18 by 24 inch piece of cartridge paper. On it, you're going to assemble all of our pieces for the first part of our assignment. The first thing, and you've already got it completed, this is our in-class sketch. And where you're going to find it on your two papers is, first of all, here on your evaluation sheet. It's right at the bottom. And you're also going to find it here. It's D. That's your in-class exercise right here. So that goes on the back. You're also going to put two sofa sketches on the back. So you'll have to figure out what the best way for you to do it is. Now, if you didn't use any space up above, you can trim that off. So don't be afraid to trim that part off. What this might look like is your in-class exercise, your small grid up at the top. So that's your small grid. And it'll probably take up about that much space. Then you're going to take 2 quarter sheets of cartridge paper. So that's a quarter sheet of cartridge paper. And on one of them, you're going to draw one of the sofas that came in your handout today. And then you're going to draw another one that's your own choice, your own selection. Now, don't forget when you're putting together your sofa sketches that you have a little floor plan that you will draw right inside the parameters of the sketch. And then you're going to have also the reference picture. When I put the references in the handout, I use a Mac. I was able to open it in preview, go up to the menu at the top, make the drop-down box from Tools, and inside the drop-down box, it gives you the option to adjust the file size, adjust size. And I adjusted the size. It was 11 inches wide. I made it 5 inches wide. So with that, when I printed it out, it was a reasonable size. And that will fit on the back of your paper. And I don't want you to do any overlapping. Well, you can overlap this a little bit with your drawing, but I don't want things flapping. You should put tape on all 4 corners. Some of you have been handing in your figures and they've only been taped in the 2 top corners and they get wrinkled and folded. So don't allow that to happen. Put tape on the back of all 4 corners of your reference picture. So the first one will be a reference from the handout that I gave you and a sketch that was made that way. And don't forget the little floor plan. The floor plan view. Got to get used to making those. You're going to go either online or you're going to go into magazines and find the sofa that you would love to draw or love the best. Now it can't be boxy because I have to love it too. If it's just as boxy as the box form drawing, then that's not going to solve our problem here. It's not going to resolve what we need to find. Look for interesting shapes. So if you look at the examples that I put in the handout, this one is very bizarre. It's got this little drop down here, and then it comes across this way, and you've got this platform here, and it comes off as being something that's rather austere, but every bit of it is rounded, so it's a bit of an enigma. And then you've got this little peekaboo here, and you've got this, I'm hoping this is attached. So it's not maybe your sofa of your dreams, but it's very interesting. A little peggy legs. Look for something unique in terms of its shape. It must have arms, or at least one arm. This was the second one we drew. It had one arm, and then the rest was back. But even the back wasn't straight. There's a little bit of an angle. That made quite an interesting problem to solve in terms of shape. And then this one has this appearance of great depth from the top of the back to the seat, and then this beautiful curve and so on. So it's almost photographed as a silhouette. But you'll see when we did our sketches, we had to change them. They had to become 1-point perspective, and you'll see they had to be adjusted. These are both in 2-point. We're looking into a corner rather than straight on. So they were quite a number of adjustments we had to make there. One of these sofa references will come from the handout, and you'll sketch from the video to make it. Then you're going to select one of your own, do the same procedure, make your sketch the same way, and put your reference picture up as well. And don't forget a little floor plan. You can put that right inside the drawing. And you of course need a border. So these both go on a quarter sheet of cartridge paper. So you have to fit those in with your small grid, but you can trim a lot of the small grid off at the top. There's a lot you don't need up there. On the other side, you're going to put the large grid. And the large grid goes in the bottom right-hand corner, down here. That's the large grid. And all around it, you're going to put the rest of your reference pictures. On your checklist, if you look at B reference pictures, you can print them in black and white, but if you're choosing magazine pieces, you can leave them in color. It doesn't matter if you have some in color and some in black and white. In a formal situation, you would never do that, but it's okay for us. You need to print out these pictures. They can come from any source. They have to be photos, not illustrations. One sofa design, because one of them is going to come from the handout. So let's change that to one. Not boxy, but they must have an arms or one arm. Can have one arm, like our example. You've got a fireplace. Choose a three-dimensional fireplace. So put 3D on there. Like the two we sketched in class. Well, I put up 3 sketches of fireplaces, so you can go back and look at those and see what I mean about three-dimensional, that you can walk around them, that they're not just a facade on the wall. A very thin facade. Don't forget that everybody is going to draw the simple box drawing exactly as the videos tell you. Don't change anything yet. That's going to happen next week. So the videos for the grid, the next grid, the large grid, are right here, week 4. So do exactly what I tell you to do, and you'll be fine. This additional floor plan sketch, that's about your sofa sketches. But these other, the gable and light, the bookcase and fireplace, the sofa, and the figure placement, they're all about that big grid. Our large grid is our simple box drawing. And because you did the in-class project, the little small grid in-class project, this will be very fast. You won't have any trouble doing it. And the rest goes for reference pictures, what you want to put in the room. Now don't forget about the figure that you sketched. Remember that they are going to sit on your sofa or stand in your room. And these 2 figures I gave you today, they're just optional. We don't have to do a figure this week, but keep them. They might be great for something in your future. But there is a certain look when the figure is not facing us. So she might be touching the back of the sofa and looking at the big window. And it's a whole different atmosphere when they're not engaging with us. Next week, when you bring in these simple box drawings, we're going to put a piece of marker paper over top, look at your references, and turn these into furniture. The furniture that you've selected. Turn the sofa into a sofa. Because right now, it's just going to be a simple box. The fireplace, we're going to knock the wall in and put a 3-dimensional fireplace in place of the one. But that's next week. Everybody remember, just do exactly what you're being told to do on the videos. And then the following week, we can have some fun with it. You can make it your own. I like magazines usually because if you're lucky, sometimes there's a little story that goes with it. But what I loved about this one was this beautiful detail here. And I use that. You'll see my example later on. And I use that a lot. And I use that too because I loved. So don't forget entourage. Always be looking, because I never know what to put on shelves or fireplace. I never know. Look at those fellas. Those could be nice too. And then you're looking for window treatments. You're looking at blinds and draperies and whatever else. Even window shapes. You may want to shape your window differently. So, and cushions. You're looking at cushions and carpet. This is loaded with all sorts of things, but I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to do in a fireplace. Light fixtures. You're going to be looking for a beautiful hanging light fixture. This is the one I ended up using. And look at how the beautiful way this slumps, this lazy pillow. Again, the entourage, putting stuff on shelves. We never can have enough help with that. You're looking for carpet. This sofa, I think, is a little too boxy for us. It's not exciting enough. So we want to look for things that are a little more. Even this is better because it has the tufting. That could be quite fun. And then look at this drapery and that shape of that window. This sofa would be acceptable. It's round. Did you see it has a little bit of detail? Although it is quite boxy, it's got tufting and lots of pillows. This would be fine. And look at the lovely idea for the wall behind the brick. This is good. That would be fine. The doggy would be nice to have. This is fine. It's a little slumped, but I think it'd be okay. It's interesting. This one, not so much. It's kind of ordinary. I hope no one has a sofa like that at home. This would be nice. Oh, and light fixtures. So I hope you have some fun. This would be okay. It's okay, I think. And then light fixtures, you can find something interesting. I chose this one. I quite like that one for one example. And carpets, look at this. That's pretty razzmatazz. And I ended up choosing a chaise rather than a sofa. So you can do that too. As long as it has arms, or one arm, and a back. Your figures, you're going to take your tracing paper, put it on the copier, and make them, reduce them in size and cut them out. When you get your photocopies, reduce them and cut them out. Ladies go with their eyes on the eye level, and men, you have to size them like furniture because they're 6 feet. So if we were to put him against the wall, he would be 6 feet at about there. See? Because the top of his head is at 6 feet and the bottom of his foot is on the floor. So he would fit into my grid right there. And whatever else I drew around him, he would look proportionate to it. But the ladies, they're at 5 feet. So if we put her beside him, she's further back in the room. That's why she looks so much smaller. And she's shorter. We made her shorter. Whereas this lady, and this is kind of fun. And this lady's quite large. And see, she's quite big. She's bigger than either of them. Then there's the seated people. They're a little tricky. You have to go home. If you're doing a seated person, go home and see when you sit on your sofa, if your sofa back is 3 feet, where does your shoulder stop on the sofa? And can you put your feet on the floor? Get someone to take a picture. That helps. And then you get a better idea. So she hasn't got anything to sit on, but I would have to make sure that her feet are on the floor and her bottom was sitting on the sofa. That's how I could tell whether she was big enough or not.